Hey everybody, so here we are with our 1890 XP Bandit chipper. So this is what we predominantly use to mulch up our material, to mulch it all up for the composting and things like that. So basically this is her. So when we use it for that sort of stuff, she gets a bit choked up with different material and stuff like that. So she works very hard in that type of material. So it takes a little bit of cleaning and a little bit of maintenance in those things. So I just open her up and she comes. Okay, so she's got a pretty big mouth on her. So she's all gummed up at the moment, so we've got to get her all cleaned up. She's actually, I really do enjoy working with it. Very solid machine. She weighs about 4.5 tons, with about a 500 kilo down weight on the draw hitch. So we'll just fire her up. So she's a 140 horsepower Caterpillar, turbocharged. So when she goes through the stuff like nobody's business. So come on up here. Yeah. There we go. So this might be very hard to do with one hand, I think. But anyway, you'll bob around a little bit while I do it. So wrong way. There we go. Sorry about that. That's what we do, we put the pin in there, we lower her back down onto there. Okay, so that opens up the drum area, and underneath there's all the drum and the anvil and everything in there. So she's an 18-inch drum chipper, and an 18-inch throat on her, fairly decent size hole in the back end there. So yeah, that's her there. Might just don't know whether to turn that chute around or not. So I've got to do a bit of work on her as far as things go. Actually, I might do that. I might bring the chute around. So up there you've got a set of keepers up there and a little lug on the ring there to stop you from coming around and smacking into the things at the back there with the chute. So I've got to open her up and I've got to flush her out up top there. She's got a manhole cover there and she's gummed up with a bit of rubbish in here. So you just turn her off so we can hear ourselves talk. So she's like I said, turbocharged. She actually is a beauty of a power plant, little Cat 4-cylinder motor, 140 horsepower. She certainly sails along really well. The only real drama for what we use her for and what she was designed for is that she doesn't she blows the stuff through pretty hard, but she just, like all these chippers, if you try and use them for the work we do, they don't create enough force in the fan to blow the material through with certain parts of the material. So it becomes a real skill to be able to select the pieces of material you want to put through in the order that you want to put them through. Because when you're doing what I want to do, you actually are blending it all the time. As you're picking off the pile, it looks random, but you're not actually just picking up branches and tree limbs and things like that and feeding it through the chipper for what we're doing. You know, that would be how a tree person would do it, you know. This one has a massive big winch on the back here, hydraulic winch. So this is a whole tree chipper, so you can drag a whole tree up inside of it, 18-inch tree, and it'll chomp it up into pieces. So there's the tractor. So for what we do with it, we're trying to process the material. So we are trying to blend green material as well as dry material, and then sometimes the material can be a bit too wet, so that creates a bit of an issue with your feed, with your chute and things like that. So that's something, something that we're always juggling as we work the material that we're putting through. And it really, in what we do, it actually really is quite a situation that you're working the material. You're choosing it, selecting it, and then hopefully it blends straight through and it comes out the other end as you'd want it. Sometimes not so much, sometimes you'll get a choke in it, but I've gotten very good at running this machine. I don't very often get the machine choked up with that sort of stuff. I've got such a good feel for it now. I pretty much know when it's on song and it's doing its job properly. And I don't enjoy getting up there and having to undo that, especially when you're getting tired. That's where the excavator's been a godsend with that, because it's surprising in the material piles how all of that material hangs onto itself, and from a physical point of view, it is so hard separating those piles. So we use the excavator to pull the piles about, and we'd say fluff it up. So we throw all the material behind the chipper for us to then grab it and throw it in, because as it settles with all that weight of it having more material added to it, it actually just locks itself all together, and it becomes physically exhausting for you to be able to pull those things apart in that stuff. I can't remember what that other pin's for. I just noticed another pin. I can't remember what it was for. Anyway, so that's basically that. I think I was going to show you something then, but I've forgotten what that was at that point, but it'll obviously come back to me as I go through. So I might just turn that off for now. Thank you for watching that little bit. I may add another bit to the video, or I may just post this on its own and then add more after. These things are your best friend. If ever you're in here and anything happens, you pull on these and they will stop the machine. So that's basically it. This is your forward and reverse on the thing. So that reverses and forwards the drum rollers to spit whatever's going out. So if you're going through there, you pull on these guys here, they'll pull that forward and they'll reverse these rollers here and spit you back out. But it's like they say, it's a bit like poking the shark or the crocodile in the eyes. It's a little bit late to be having to do that, but it's still better than the other consequence of it. Yeah, I don't remember what I was going to show you. There's something, but anyway. But you've got all sorts of safety buttons like this here. If you need to shut it down, that shuts the motor down, pulls it up. So yeah, it's a really good piece of gear for getting through massive amounts of material like we do. Okay, well, thank you very much for joining me right there. I'll talk to you again soon. I'm Gary, I'm the Attitude Adjuster. Please subscribe to us. It makes a huge difference with us, with the tractor and with other things on the farm. Helps us to get more things done and get more videos out there and show you more things that we've got on the go as we go through with this stuff. Thank you very much. Subscribe, rate and like. Bye bye for now. Thank you. We're slowly struggling along there, getting there, but that's it. All jams down into that cavity down there. Sorry about bumping you around so much, but it's hard to do that stuff and not have those things. There's quite a few lines and different things down there, and this goes right up in underneath, then right in up in under there, and that's an opening into the actual chute area of the chipper. So yeah, so it gets pretty gummed up with stuff falling back down, and that's the same thing like with the little chipper. So there's a lot of the material that's already been gotten out of there. So with the chippers, like even the 8 horsepower chippers and stuff like that are the domestic ones, the ones that I was using fell into a category that for some people they weren't that fantastic a chipper because they were too effective. And what that meant was that they shot the material that they had ground up for miles, you know, and that was you know, that would make one heck of a mess there for people. So in a domestic situation in a little yard, you know, having the material blown so far was a real pain. But like in this situation of these things, that's actually some part of the problem there. So yeah, it creates the thing. And when you don't have enough volume of air, like on this guy here, because you're putting through so much material, it then doesn't have, you know, enough vacuum and enough pressure to push all of the material through it, and then that's how you get those blockages that cause you problems, and you've got to go back and clean those blockages out. So, you know, that's a part of this here in this area of cleaning all this stuff out. Now, you know, sometimes when we set up there and we'll be putting material through for days, so this is probably about a week's worth of work. And in an ideal situation, you'd like to, you know, clean this stuff out more often than that, but unfortunately that didn't happen in this instance because you got too busy with other jobs as they come in. So that's what we do, because we're not full-time farming or full-time processing. It does mean that I come and go from the jobs, you know, as need be. So if I get a job that pays the bills and calls me away, I go away then and I go and do that work. So that pretty much is one of the downsides to this, and then you don't always get back and clean up stuff that you'd like to. So yeah, well, that's where we're up to at the moment. So I'll keep after this and I'll show you when it's all cleaned out of there and looks much better than what it does at the moment. Thanks for that. We're busy getting in everywhere and greasing the old girl. So I have no choice to, just give me a second.